Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where this week we're going to be showing you the design for the last drone video that I uploaded here on my channel and how that came to be. If this is your first time here, I talk about design, I show some of my projects and the ideas behind them and what I was thinking, some of the concepts and some of the needs that the homeowner wanted. And with that being said, we're gonna get right into this one. If you haven't seen it, well, I actually just put it right before I started slaying this one, which was from about, I think, 2 or so weeks ago. But here are some of the ideas behind this. Now, one of the things I want to start with is that this lot itself was a little under 8,000 square feet in total. That also includes the house. And one of the things about this one is that it was right next to a golf course. So a few things had to happen regarding those. And this has to be regarding the HOA and their guidelines that we had to kind of go along, because we obviously want all the homes to look nice. At the same time, because of the elevation of the back as opposed to the front, we need to make sure that the water was running properly. In fact, the one here design that I'm showing you is not the final version. One of the things that made this important to us is one, building up a retaining wall that I'm going to mark here in this sort of blue color. I don't know, it's kind of like a green kind of bluish color. It's this guy right here. And the idea behind this is that when water were to run, rain or snow type of thing, it wouldn't go towards the house as opposed to doing that with the wall. What we would do is that kind of reroute the water and kind of go this way towards the front of the property, and any water that would stay kind of in this area would do the same thing, which kind of follow this area. My line's a little too thick, so I'm going to adjust that right now, and there we go, a little nicer. And on the opposite side, we did the same thing where we noticed that some water was kind of staying in this area. So what we did is that we did put a catch basin in this area over here, so any water that would potentially come from this area would not go into the window well, because that would be a very big problem, and we definitely don't want that to happen. So when you are thinking about doing your own home, think of where you want to, or not really where you want to, but rerouting the water away from your foundation, especially if it has a basement. But even if it doesn't, you definitely don't want water sticking around too long next to the house, be it because it can erode some of the foundations depending on the kind of home that you have. But with this one, what we did is that not only do we put a catch basin here and the whole line went from here all the way to here, we also added a driver bed similar to this one right here that we did here to get all the water from the back to the front. Other things that we kind of added to this design is an area that will look nice and green, because again, this is next to a golf course. So in the front, we add this little patch of grass because one, it was gonna look really nice, but another one is that this home right here already had some grass, so we pretty much matched it, kind of having this grass kind of match with the new grass that was going to be put. And the same goes for the back. If you see over here, we had this grass here, the sod area, and that was because of the same thing. The homeowners on the I would say on the right side, depending on where you look at the house, it was like this, right? So we kind of just, well, not next to the house, but it kind of went like this. But we matched it with them as well. And then an area really at one point close to the house, eventually we axed this area. It was going to be a synthetic turf area for the dogs, but eventually we just axed it and just had nothing there, as opposed to what we had there. But some ideas always kind of flow depending on what the homeowners want. One of the ideas was if we had like a little patch here, we could still have the water come out this way, which it would still work for this specific design. And what we did here, we ended up kind of making this a little different. This kind of went more like this as opposed to this design here. As I said earlier, this is not the final design, but it does have a lot of the elements from the last version that we came up with, including some of the trees and shrubs. This one's over here. We installed some columnar spruces just to give them a little bit of that screening from this neighbor over here. Not that they weren't good good, neighbors or anything. But if you're out here kind of having a good time with your family, and especially if you're gonna have a hot tub, you kind of want to, have a little bit of screening so your neighbors are, potentially not just seeing you guys there. And even if they do, like, hey, this is kind of private area type of thing. At the same time, over here, what we ended up doing is that not only did we do the drive over here, we also had stepping stones just in case, we wanted some friends to come from the front to the back. It kind of goes like this in this area. And the other one is, water getting away from the area. Not that there was going to be a ton of water, but we definitely wanted that to be, one of the priorities for the overall, property. And then we obviously, started adding some shrubbery, nice, shrubs that would really complement the house. Now, the tone of the house was a lot of browns. So one, we did use some of the rocks that had some of those tones of browns, not necessarily to match everything, but to kind of continue with the theme. But at the same time, we added more trees and shrubs that would make it look nice. We added some ornamental grasses as well, and you can kind of see here my list of some of those that we kind of put here, kind of having a good, difference here of what, look good over here. Different kinds of, shrubs and trees, including some of those columnars. The one nice thing about this one is that here in the back there were already some existing pines, and it almost looked like it was part of this property even though it wasn't. But the way we designed it is that it was going to flow with everything around, especially this area over here. From the footage it almost looked like it's one piece, like the space itself is way bigger than it really is, just because we want it to flow. But right around the house we did add a good amount of rock, and as it moved away on this area, this is a property that's going to be, they're going to build a home as well, but kind of for the meantime kind of have an area just to be more native, and eventually when they do build there they can add whatever they want. Potentially because of the way the properties are there, they're a little on the smaller side of things. As I said, this is right around 8,000 square feet. Most of the properties right there are kind of about the same size, anywhere between 7.5 and about 8.5. So there's not a ton of room to play with, but then again there is plenty of space to kind of move around. If you have dogs, there's plenty of spaces where you can walk them, and even like right next to your house, like you have an area to kind of do your own thing. If you want to have like a barbecue, you have space for that. Now over here, you maybe notice that this area was closed off, and this was intentionally for the dog. If it wanted to go, do its, necessities, it would just be right there as opposed to running off at the middle of the night. And that was one of the main ideas, as opposed to fencing the whole thing, which would have looked a little strange. It could have been done, but it would have been a little bit strange if you were to, kind of put your fence here and kind of go here, kind of do this whole thing. On this side, you would definitely have to kind of go all the way to here. And just because you have the, the fence on one side, and you have the wall there, you kind of have to extend the fence there. But those were some of the ideas, not to have the whole thing looking like, oh, it's just this area, just kind of visually making it look like there's more spaces to play with. And it turned out really, really nice, at least in my opinion it did. But I like to hear your comments on this. What do you guys think about this? Are you guys working on something similar to this? Let me know. I like to hear your thoughts. I've been traveling and just been wanting to see different projects and the status of them. If you want to, give me a little bit of what you guys are working with over on Instagram. I have my Instagram IG page. You guys can follow me there, and then Skip Alert, and also on TikTok, where I also do small videos of things I'm doing as I'm traveling around the states. I'm just getting different ideas. I've always liked to learn more things about different styles of design, because of where I am. Most of the time I'm using a lot of mountain style of design, a lot of evergreens for high elevation, pines and spruces that will do well within a certain height of elevation. So those are the things I'm working with. But I also want to do things that are closer to the ocean, more sea level. And if you are there, I definitely like to see what you guys are working with, and not only the shrubs but also the designs, because again, one, I enjoy this, and I just this is one of those things that I like to share with anybody that I can. But if there are questions that you guys have, more specifics, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer them as many as I can. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know this is like the very like overall sum of everything else, but if you want more detail, let me know. I'd like to break more things down, but I'd definitely like to know what you guys are wanting to know for me to give you guys a better explanation. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys on the next video. In the meantime, take care, but don't forget the motto here, which is dream, design, create. Take care. Bye.